In this episode of Pop Culture Weekly, I talk with Dita Von Teese and then Judah the Lion. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello, and welcome to episode 83 of Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and, wow, there's just so much awesome stuff going on that I love. I am still on a high from Firefly. I am still on a high from talking to Diane Warren, the freaking legendary songwriter. I mean, she's been one of my songwriters. She's been one of my favorite songwriters of all time since I was a kid. She's one of the greatest, songwriters of all time, one of the best-selling, one of the most awarded. I mean, she is literally in a very exclusive club, and she's freaking awesome. So in this week's episode, I am talking to Judah and the Lion, who... You guys saw the video up, the video interview, and this interview was promoted to come out on the Firefly episode, and then it didn't. I mean, it was everywhere else, but it wasn't actually on the audio, wasn't actually on the episode. So I talked to Judah Ackers all about Judah and the Lion. You know, he has a very interesting story. And he started out actually as an athlete at Belmont University in Nashville. Well, I'll let him tell it, but he is awesome. I love the band. I love him. The band puts on a hell of a show. So I'm really excited for you to hear this interview officially on Pop Culture Weekly. And of course, I talked to Dita Von Teese. She, as you know, is, I would say, single-handedly responsible for bringing a renaissance of burlesque. That's why she is known as the Queen of Burlesque. And she has a very, very, very cool special that I talked about when the video interview came out. And she's doing a tour and just a whole bunch of awesome stuff. And she knows how to put on a show. So she was also just on The Masked Dancer, and she's just got a lot of stuff going on. She's a really cool person, an amazing artist, and I am so excited to talk to her. So let's start with Dita herself. Here it is, Dita Von Teese. I am here with the one and only Dita Von Teese on iHeartRadio's Pop Culture Weekly. Thank you so much for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
So you have a very special project that is coming up this coming weekend called Night of the Teese. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, we filmed it earlier this year, and I always wanted to do, I had a lot of people asking me about doing online shows during the pandemic, and I was a little bit like, yeah, it's kind of hard to capture the feeling of being part of being at a live show, but I still liked the idea. So eventually I was able to put the pieces together and align with Drift, who's producing it. They did this before there was a pandemic, so they know what they're doing. And then to have Quinn Wilson as director was really a big selling point for me, because having her perspective on burlesque and her ideas about bringing the viewer onto the stage and backstage, that was really appealing to me when it came to filming the show.
Yeah, the teaser for it looks absolutely incredible. I'm really looking forward to the special. And why was it important? So you flew all of the performers out to be in LA at the Orpheum, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And so why was that important for you to bring them all there?
I had some parameters. We couldn't bring any of my favorite performers that are in my show that are, from Australia, for instance, or from other places in the world. So there were some restrictions, and ultimately it was hard to decide who to put in this show. So I really kind of presented Quinn, the director, with some of my favorite people that were possible to bring, and we both, I think Quinn and I were just like, there's so much we want to film and so many amazing burlesque performers. We've got to make this a success so that we can make it a series, because there's so much more to explore in the burlesque community. There's so many performers from, so many different types of performers that I really want to shine the spotlight on them. So it was hard to choose,
I'm sure. And, with this show, you have been, I mean, forever, you have been, since you have kind of burst onto the scene, you have been at the forefront of burlesque, and in my opinion, have really made it something that people talk about commonly, where, at least for me, that wasn't something really mainstream that I knew of before you came and brought that awareness. Was that always your goal to do that, or were you just doing you and whatever happened?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of both. I think when I first started out in the 90s, I was a Playboy model. I had a very different demographic. And I think it wasn't really until I came out with my first book in the early 2000s, and 2002, and where I expressed in my book, told my story about why burlesque and what it means to me and what glamour means to me, and how I look to icons of beauty of the past, because I felt like there weren't any modern role models of beauty that I could really imitate, because I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and it was the era of the supermodel, and it was so I just couldn't see any parallels I had with, the supermodels of those days. So that's why I looked to the, women of the 40s and 50s as beauty icons, because I knew I could kind of craft a mystique. And, I'm a natural blonde from a farming town in Michigan, and I learned how to create glamour for myself. Right. So when I talked about that in my book, I think it resonated with a lot of other people that felt like, okay, yes, I don't have to apologize that I love to wear cat eye eyeliner and red lipstick, and I can have my hair whatever color I want it to be, and artifice should not be just dismissed as something that's not valued. It is artistic expression. I feel like I am my own art project. I'm pretty very ordinary looking person underneath all the makeup. So yeah, so I think when I told that story, it changed my fan base a lot, and I had a lot more women and a big LGBTQIA following after that, and in the years after that. So that kind of gave me a lot of fuel to want to do more, and to also not just think about what I'm doing in the show or what I represent, but how can I change people's minds about burlesque and stripping and strippers and striptease? How do we make it aspirational for people? Well, that's showing as many different kinds of performers as possible. Mm-hmm. And I think that feels empowering for some people.
Yeah, I love that. And, that's the thing in particular that I think is so important with this project, is that it's not just you. And obviously you're amazing, but like you said, you're shining a light that it's not, you may be the face of it, but there are many varied people with varied bodies from varied backgrounds that are involved in this as well, which is going to inspire people that may look more like them to
that's
to get
exactly
involved.
It. But there's still obviously, listen, it would be a week-long event if I were really able to show all of the facets right. of burlesque. I wish in my dreams I can really show everyone that I love and admire, and or even those that I don't, just right. All the the different types of burlesque performers, but we're starting here, and I just never claimed to be like, oh, it's a generalization, everybody's like this. There's not, it's
Right.
And we put together some of my most show-stopping performers that were in LA and a couple from New York, and I hope people like it.
Yeah, I think they will. I think it's so awesome. And I'm really looking forward to it. What can we expect from you after the special?
Well, I'm here in France doing competing on Dancing with the Stars, which I love. I'm having so much fun. So that's like my main thing that I'm focused on. I came here thinking, oh, I just want to do well and do my best. Now I'm like, I'm here to win this thing. I'm really like loving it and having the best time and overcoming my own fears of dance. I grew up like taking ballet classes in rinky-dink ballet schools in the Midwest, and I was never a good ballerina, and I have like fear of auditions and fear of learning choreography, and have told myself for decades that I can't really dance. And that's why I became a burlesque performer. And this has been my moment to really overcome all of those like fears and prove to myself that I can do this and come out of it with more confidence than before. So stay tuned also for the ballroom dance striptease acts. I'll be working on that after all this training.
I love it. I'll be rooting for you. And this weekend, on demand, live premiere, and then on demand for 48 hours, Night of the Teese. Thank you, Dita, so much.
You.
Pleasure.
One more thing.
Sure.
We are hoping to be live at the Orpheum for New Year's Eve. I traditionally do New Year's Eve at the Orpheum, which is where the cinematic special is filmed. So we're hoping we're going to be in the room this year. And then also I have like a huge Europe and UK tour that starts in February. So I'll be at Folies Bergère, Opera Garnier, and Monte Carlo, all over the UK, including the London Palladium.
Awesome. And are you coming, or then are you going to bring that tour back to the States?
I'm not sure. We were trying to do the show in the States, but all the artists that had their, sorry, I have a cat to wrangle.
Oh, you're totally good.
All of the people, sorry. Oh my God. What am I trying to say? I'm just distracted by cats. To say that, it's been difficult to piece together a new tour because all of the artists that got canceled in 2020 are, got all the dates. And so it's very, very hard for artists to schedule a new tour very quickly. So, I hope.
Yeah, and we'll be waiting for that announcement when it comes. In the meantime, we have the special this weekend. We have Dancing with the Stars coming up, and then New Year's Eve, and then your Europe tour.
Big tour, yeah, Europe and the UK. Awesome. I'm in Dancing with the Stars in France. I know people, but everyone figures out ways to watch it anyway. But
right, absolutely,
absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dita. I really appreciate it.
Nice talking to you.
You as well.
Bye.
Bye.
Isn't she awesome? She's so talented and she's got so much going on. And she really just became herself and carved a niche for herself and tore the freaking rule book up, and good for her. She's so awesome. And you can keep up with her at Dita Von Teese on social, or her website, which is Dita.net. I love that website, Dita.net. So you can get all of her everything, the tour, stuff about her brands, the burlesque, her shows, all kinds of good stuff up on Dita.net. All right. Now we talk with Judah and the Lion. This is the audio interview from Firefly that I'm really excited. Oh my goodness, excuse me. If you have not heard it yet, or I'm sorry, didn't see it yet, because the video interview has been up on, the usual channels. So here it is, my interview with Judah Ackers of Judah and the Lion. All right, iHeartRadio's Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I'm here live at Firefly Festival with none other than Judah of Judah and the Lion. How are you, man?
What up, dude? Stoked to be here. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. So the last year and a half has been a little bit crazy. How have you guys been dealing with it?
Man, we were just talking about this. This is our first show back, so we're super excited to be in this festival atmosphere. It's obviously been something we've been dreaming about for a year and a half. Pre-pandemic, we were doing 200 shows, a year and kind of living out. And so this last year, obviously, it's been pretty bitter, more than sweet. But it has been time for us to kind of focus on our families, and we all of us are married, and so kind of, recultivate some of those relationships and like walk the dog and do some stuff and find some mental health. And so it's been amazing. Obviously been writing a whole lot, which the pandemic has been great for creativity, I believe, that we're going to see it, especially kind of hopefully moving forward out of it. But yeah, it's been awesome.
That's awesome. And just to go back for a moment, so you guys, you met at Belmont University. You were an athlete, right?
Yeah, I played college baseball.
So what brought you from baseball to it's kind of a 180 or 360 or whatever it is?
Well, it's interesting. So I grew up. My family's on my mom's side is very musical, and I kind of grew up doing both, like being in choir and also playing baseball and basketball. I love kind of the chaos of all that, and especially at Belmont, it's kind of known for its music, right. Not necessarily its baseball. Right. But to have my athletic jock friends and like more of my creative music friends, I always just loved kind of the both. You kind of have a unique perspective, on things. So.
Yeah, I love that. And, I was talking to Blake Griffin, and I was kind of busting his chops because he always is frustrated when people say, because he does comedy. Like, he's a really funny guy. And he actually interned, while he was in the NBA, he interned at Funny or Die just to, like, learn about the comedy business and all that sort of thing. So I was busting his chops the first time I interviewed him, and I was like, I got to say, I never thought that, you'd be so funny because you're tall, and he got it, thank God, because he has like a weird sense of humor like I do. But people don't realize, artists, musicians, athletes are multifaceted people, and, it's not just, I'm just a baseball player, I'm just a musician, and so I think it's cool that that's something you've actually talked about. I just don't hear a lot of artists be like, like I'm none that I can think of off the top of my head, any that have been successful and have talked about like a college career like that. So I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's kind of crazy too. It's like I go back and, when we were kind of coming up, all the baseball guys kind of loved all of my more like emotional songs, like, kind of get them to open up a little bit. And so that stereotype for baseball players being these like macho, whatever, it's like we're all people doing this thing called life, which is obviously this last year and a half has proven to be difficult at times. So finding your identity within, who you are and what you believe is way more important than being an artist or a good radio host or, whatever. It's like, you are Kyle, not Kyle the radio host, Right. So, yeah, it's been really, really important to see. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, I appreciate your answer. And in regards to your music, you have a very eclectic style. Speaking of, different interests and stuff. In fact, your album, I guess 2 albums ago, kind of straddled, it was folky, but bluegrassy, but also had like a little bit of hip hop swagger in that. Does that represent you and the band as people and artists? Was that something conscious? Is that just something that comes natural?
Yeah, it just came really natural. When we first started out, we were a 3-piece. And that was kind of like right when Mumford and the Lumineers were kind of popping out, and I honestly didn't listen to that style of music. I listened to like rock music and hip hop. If I was in my dad's car, my basketball boys would listen to hip hop. 50 Cent, Eminem, Paul Wall, obviously Kendrick and Jay and all the good ones. But in my mom's car, I was more like the classic rock, like Tom Petty and REO Speedwagon, REM, Queen. And so for us, like, we kind of got stuck with these, not stuck, but in a beautiful way got stuck with these, a banjo and a mandolin and acoustic, and we wanted to make music that was outside of kind of what Mumford and the Lumineers were doing, and that proved to be a little bit more genuine. We spent like the first 8 years in a van and realized really quickly, like, all of our influences were, like, Nate, he was super into EDM, Brian super into classical, I was into my hip hop and rock and kind of anthemic stuff, and so you bring all that stuff together. It's kind of like you get what you get.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of the things I love about you guys is that you know, eclectic mix that you know, makes like a perfect soup, if you will, of great art. So
Well, some people think the mix is a little bit too much, so I'm glad that you said it's a perfect soup.
I love it. And you know, another thing that I love on so you guys recently did an Unplugged album, and you covered Sheryl Crow, "Soak Up the Sun," which first of all, Sheryl Crow is amazing. Secondly, that song is amazing. The harmonies. Why did you pick that one?
Well, you know, our last record was a bit heavy. It's, you know, it's based a lot of our kind of culture, and the people that really connect with our story is, you know, it's kind of heavy. It can be the topics, even coming to our show, I think sometimes can be emotional. And just during the season, like we've been writing, obviously getting ready for this new record, and it's light and hopeful, and we were like, man, I just like going to the lake with my dogs and putting on Sheryl Crow. And so we were like, I think the world needs a Sheryl Crow cover. Yeah. And then she like messaged us, and it was like this insane thing. I was like, oh my gosh, my like childhood version of myself is like beaming.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an incredible songwriter herself. You know, she's, in my opinion, she's a very underrated songwriter. I mean, she's made such, you know, I just love her as a songwriter, as an artist altogether, but especially as a songwriter. And you know,
Bono said it the best. It's like it's easier to make a good song that's sad, but it's really hard to make a happy song that's good.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
She navigates that super well. It's what we try to do, you know, with our music, and yeah, it's really beautiful. Love her story.
Yeah, me as well. And so your upcoming record, tell me about that. What can we expect? Are we looking at a tour after that? You know, give me all the goods.
Yeah, so full-on record coming. Probably we actually I got to write for this new Netflix movie called The Starling that came out yesterday. That song will officially be coming out next month for us, which is kind of steering onto this next chapter for this next record. So I want to say it's the best music we've ever written. I know that's kind of cliche for an artist to say, like the most recent thing is the best thing, but we're really proud of the record that we're making. We've had a lot of time, obviously, and for us being on the road, usually we don't have this much time, so it's been really nice for us to be like, honestly, for me, I'm horrible at patience, but we're kind of going at this pace, and we really believe that what we're making is going to be really beautiful for the world. So excited about it, and then of course, full-on touring next year, hoping that, you know, crowds feel safe and all that, all the jargon, but yeah, we're really excited about it.
Awesome. And in the meantime, you guys are going to kill your set right here at Firefly. You excited?
I'm like, I was just telling Brian, I'm like, I haven't been nervous in a long time. Usually this is kind of like a part of, you know, doing 200 shows. You kind of get not in like going through the motions, but, you know, you're kind of like used to the feeling. But like we played this festival 3 years ago, and the crowd back then was electric, and now we have the 5 o'clock stage on the main stage. It's gonna be so sick. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for talking with me, man. Can't wait till the new album comes out, and can't wait to see you in a little while right here at Firefly. Thanks for talking to me on iHeartRadio's Pop Culture Weekly.
Thanks so much, Kyle.
Thank you, brother. Such a great guy, so talented. They put on a hell of a show, and they played the main stage at Firefly, and wow, they deserve that main stage spot because it's just high energy, great music, great vibe. Everybody was having a good time, singing along, and I now miss Firefly again. All right, guys, that is it for this episode. Thank you for hanging with me. Next week, we have a very, 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 very special guest. Actually, 2 of them to celebrate Halloween. Hint, hint. So hit me up if you think you know who it is. One of them, either of them, any of them, both of them, whatever. All right. I will see you next week. I love you. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
I want to be a burlesque dancer and do my shimmy, shimmy for you. I want to be a burlesque dancer. Do you want to see me too?